Obviously, it's been a different sort of start to training camp, but is there one or two things that you've noticed so far that have been like, whoa, I was not expecting this?
I mean, the whole process is different, obviously. I mean, it's August 11th, and we haven't even put helmets on yet. So I mean that whole process, that factor of the process alone is, I mean, the biggest one. But I mean, I feel like we're in the same spot as everyone else in the league, and just kind of adjusting to what's going on right now.
You guys have Ryan Anderson down with your group. Kind of what have you seen from him so far playing end? And I guess just what have you seen from him?
So good in the little bit that we've been able to do. I mean, it's been a lot of walk-through tempo type things, so it's tough to get a great gauge. But he's looked good. He looks fast, looks athletic, and he's done well so far.
I'm just curious, how weird is this for you? Because you're coming into the year, you're the guy at one of those outside linebacker end spots. You got Montez, you got Chase, you got yourself, you got Ryan Anderson. What's it like for you being in this position?
We're really deep at this position, so it's exciting, and we got a chance to be pretty darn good up front, and not just on the edges, but on the interior too, with Matt Payne, John, and all those guys. So I did Big Tim. So yeah, we got a chance to be good up front, not just on the edges, but in interior too.
I wonder about what your role is going forward, and also kind of with that, what does that sack record mean to you?
I mean, as far as my role, I'm planning on being a playmaker, planning on being out there a lot and making a lot of plays, and that's how I train this off season. That's how I'm approaching camp right now, and that's what I'm anticipating going into this season. As far as the sack record, I mean, obviously I want it because I mean I know I'm only, I think, 1.5, 2 away, but so yeah, I mean I want it. I'm not going to, I mean, because that's a step in what I want to accomplish this season.
You have had so many snaps where you've been out there, you've been the guy to get the big play essentially, but now there's so many different people, you can't have everybody out there essentially. What kind of positions are you looking for the defensive coordinators to put you in where you feel like you can give them your best effort or you can make the best plays? Is that a better question then? Any
snap you're out there is a chance to make a play. I mean, you really, any given play, you can change the game. And so no matter when I'm out there, if however many plays a game that is, I'm planning and trying to make plays, and that's the approach I'm taking now, and how I'll always take.
Said last year when we talked to you at Cleanout Day that obviously you're going into the last year of your deal and you want to continue to be with the franchise. This is where you want to retire. I know a lot of times we ask you guys about having a chance to meet the coaching staff and them getting to know you, but for you, how important is this year getting to know this coaching staff, seeing as you want to finish your career here? How big is it for you?
Very important. I mean, obviously, this. I want to be here. I've made that clear. I've made that clear privately. Made that clear publicly. I want to be here. I've through the good and bad, and so yeah, I think it's I want to show these coaches that I'm someone they can rely on not only this year but going forward as well.
I'm wondering now, as you've had a couple months removed from that consecutive game streak, have you had a chance to really reflect on it? And if so, what are you kind of most proud of when it comes to that really wild feat?
I've reflected on it at different points throughout the off season, and it bums me out that it's done. Because that was something I took a lot of pride in, because I really work hard to take care of my body, not just in season but out of season, and it's really it's an everyday thing, not just in season but out of season. So I really took pride in being available for every game. So it bums me out that it's over, but it's something that I had to put behind me, because it's done. I just gotta focus on these next games and making sure I'm available moving forward.
These next games, is there kind of one part that this shortened, adjusted training camp could really impact the defense, some aspect of the game that you're kind of going to keep an eye on and say, oh wow, we need to make sure we're even more on point in this part because we've had less work than we're used to having?
Not one part in particular. I mean, I think we're all right now just trying to make sure we get the defense installed, make sure we know our assignments so we can play fast. If you know what you have to do on a play, you can play a lot faster than if you're uncertain of what you have to do. So I think that we're using these days right now where it's more of a walkthrough tempo to really get not only get physically ready but mentally ready, and so that way we can start doing the real practices in the coming weeks that we're mastering the defense and mastering our assignments.
Obviously, we talked about the adjustments you guys have had to make with this situation with COVID and everything. What's it been like in the locker room? We obviously all kind of know the general setup, but how different is it because of social distancing guidelines?
We're all spread out over the locker room. Got a couple lockers in between each guy, which I think is smart. You want to keep as much space as possible, obviously. And I think guys have been pretty good about wearing masks, keeping their distance, and so that's been encouraging to me from the start. Is that guys want to have the season, so they're doing their job.
One other, just a separate kind of a question. Obviously, we typically ask you about guys on your side of the ball, how they look. I know you haven't been practicing yet, but you're at least seeing some of the guys on the other side of the ball. I'm just curious whether new guys or guys who have returned, anybody kind of stand out to you, whether it's how they're in shape or just little things they're doing on the field?
It's tough to say because we haven't really been working against our offense at all. I mean, we see them a little bit in our conditioning drills before we start our football stuff, but I can't really give a good analysis. I mean, Dwayne obviously looks like he's in good, a lot better physical shape. That was one of the first things I noticed when I saw him in the locker room the other day was he looks like he really did a good job training this off season. But as far as playing against guys, I haven't really had much experience yet, so it's to be determined. I'll have a better answer for you next week, I'd imagine.
You've practiced against a number of younger quarterbacks just being here. From what you've seen over the years, what are sort of some of the biggest challenges younger guys at that position specifically tend to deal with as they're transitioning from the college game to the pro game?
The biggest thing for a lot of young guys is just learning especially offensively, is learning the scheme and learning the playbook. I mean, from what I've heard, it's a lot more advanced, and it's just there's a lot more nuances coming from the college game to the pro game. So that's a big transition coming from college.
For you specifically this offseason, since you take so much pride in your durability, what sort of adjustments did you have to make to your regimen because of the quarantine and everything?
Well, once kind of some aspects of the lockdown were lifted, I was able to get back in the gym, really honing in on mobility. That's been one of the big things as I've, gotten older in my career, is that I've wanted to, work on my mobility, my thoracic mobility, my hip mobility, and hopefully that can allow me to not only, play longer in the league, but still play at a high level.
Also wanted to ask about Dwayne. Just, you've been around a lot of teams, and I guess leadership comes in different forms, whether, from the defensive side or whatever. But what does it do for a team to have a quarterback that is that presence, that voice?
It's the role that's kind of expected out of a quarterback. I mean, the plays, really a lot of plays are largely dictated by how, if football plays largely dictated about, what the quarterback does on a certain play. So, we're looking to the quarterback, to not only make plays on the field, but, to be that, that leader that we, that most teams need. And I mean, you look around the league, and I think, quarterbacks are just generally viewed as leaders. And I think Dwayne has those qualities.
Curious, like Ron has talked all off season about wanting to get to know you guys before investing long term, and you've made it clear again that you want to be here. I'm curious, what do you think they want to see in you, and what do you want to see in them in terms of like how this relationship is going to go and move forward, or do you think that it really just comes down to what they want to see in you?
That's a large of it, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure they just want to see if you can still play. I mean, I know, when this is kind of the narrative of, guys that get older in the NFL, you kind of think they're going to start slowing down and whatnot. But I guess that's where I have to prove that I'm still a productive player and someone that can be a difference maker, not only this year but moving forward.
Brandon Sheriff the other day talked about how he's kind of seen how you've adapted your body, take care of your body. Coach Rivera talked about how you've kind of taken Chase Young under your wing. I mean, it's crazy that you're in year 10 now. How important is it for you to not just set the example, but also have that role of mentor and kind of take these guys under your wing? And has that come naturally for you? And just, again, the importance that you place on that.
Become more natural over the years. I mean, when I'm not a real vocal guy as it is, but, as I've gotten more experience in the league and I've been able to accomplish more, I feel more comfortable, sharing with guys, okay, this is how, I was able to, play all those games, in a row. And this is how, I'm able to, feel good, week 1 and week 17. And so, I've just been trying to impart that on a lot of guys, especially, Chase. I've been around Chase a lot, these first couple of weeks. And, he's a guy that wants this information. He wants to know, how he can be great. And so I want to impart as much as I can on him and help him help him accomplish all that he can accomplish, because, as you guys know, and this is no secret, the sky's the limit for that guy. And Brandon Sheriff, it's been cool. He's really started to take care of his body really well, and he's realizing the importance of, getting in early and getting your body ready for the day, so that, you not only feel good for, practice that day, but, you recover faster for the next day. So he's doing a good job, and I'm proud of the way he's handling himself.
The social respect, you kind of touched on this, the mask, and how guys are being very responsible inside the locker room. We asked Dwayne about this earlier, just the social responsibility aspect of it too, and making sure, and again, as a leader, whether it's holding yourself, other teammates accountable. We've seen what's happened with some of these other teams that haven't maybe been responsible. So how important is that for you and your teammates just going forward to make sure you have a season?
People think it's what we do here at the park that's important, but it's really we're taking all the protocols here at the park. It's how you're handling it away from Redskins Park, and how you're handling it, at home. And I know I imagine for a lot of, us guys that are married, it's a little easier because you got your wife and your kids at home, so you kind of stay home most days of the week during the season anyway. So, but I imagine for, guys that are young and single, it's a little, hard, and they want to, go out and go out to dinner and whatnot. So, but you just got to make sure you're taking the proper precautions and mask up. I mean, that's really, because we're all dependent on each other, to have a season. So we really got to, be responsible, not only here, but socially.
As someone who's been a member of the Redskins for, almost a decade or so, what's it like now wearing the Washington football team gear and having to kind of refer to yourself as that? Is it weird? Is it strange? Is it difficult? What's your take on all that name stuff?
Catch yourself saying Redskins at times, but ultimately I'm cool with the change. I like it. I think I think the name actually has, is kind of cool. Washington football team, it's kind of, and I know like a lot of soccer teams have, different names that are FC and whatnot. So I think it's kind of cool, and it's cool to be part of, I got to be part of, one tradition, and I hope to be part of this one going forward.
You're talking about, having to prove yourself as an older player. Does that require a bit of an ego check at all? On some level you have to prove yourself every year, but you are a very accomplished player and you have shown a history of production. So how do you kind of grasp that as, maybe you don't view yourself as older either?
I think that's a good way of putting it. You really gotta humble yourself. You gotta realize, okay, this game, you gotta prove yourself year in and year out, and what you did, for how many years, it doesn't matter as much when you're trying to prove yourself for this next season. So, I think that's a good way of putting it.